Hello, kindergarten. It's Mrs. Merritt. Today we're going to do Module 3, Lesson 25. Our objective is I will match and count to compare a number of objects and identify which is more. So yesterday we talked about less. Today we're going to talk about more. Okay? To warm up our brains today, we are going to put our pennies in a row. And I do not know how many pennies are here. So let's see how many pennies they gave us. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they gave us 10 pennies. Okay? Now we're going to put one linking cube on top of each penny. We're going to see if there's enough cubes to cover each penny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Oh no, I'm out of cubes. Are there enough cubes to cover each penny? No. Which has more? Are there more cubes or more pennies? Show me. More cubes or more pennies? If you put your hand on your nose, you're correct. There are more pennies. We don't have enough cubes. How many more pennies are there than cubes? Just by looking at the picture, how could we figure that out? We could count the pennies. Right, so let's figure out how many more pennies there are. 1, 2. There are 2 more pennies than there are cubes. Great job. So we are back to talking about these shapes. We're going to organize these shapes into different groups today and figure out which group of shapes has more, which group of shapes has less, okay? So today we're going to talk about ways to organize our groups of shapes so it's easier to tell which has more. You guys have been doing a really nice job, and I love when I see your exit tickets. Those shapes are lined up. They're great, okay? So we have to figure out which group of shapes has more. The first problem we're going to do is circles and triangles. So rather than go through and count all the circles and triangles, we're going to pull them out, and we're going to put them into our line like we have been. You can help me count if you'd like. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I grab all my circles out? Yeah. Can you help me find all the triangles now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I grab all my triangles out? Yeah, I did. Which has more? Are there more circles or triangles? There are more circles. I can tell really quick and easily because look at my triangles ends here and there's all these circles left. Okay, great job. Now we're going to go on to our squares and hexagons. So right now it's not too easy to see if there's more squares or hexagons. So how could we move our shapes around the board? We could line them up, or we could do what we did with the pennies and the cubes. We could put our squares down and then put our hexagons over them, or put our hexagons down and then put our squares over them. So let's pull out our squares first. I'm going to put our squares on the top row. And you gotta make sure I grab all the squares. It's tricky. I'm so glad I have you guys to help me. Did I pull all my squares out? Yeah. Can you help me find all the hexagons? Hexagons, remember, they have 6 sides. Another one. Oh, I have a problem though. They're not lining up. Is that going to be a big problem? No, we have another solution to that, don't we? So right now, doesn't it look like I have a similar number of squares and hexagons? Yeah, it does. So we're going to draw a line to each square, from each square to the hexagon, just to see if we have the same number as, or if we have more or less of one shape. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line from each square to each hexagon, just to be positive, because look at my spacing is off. Phew, good thing I did that, because look at, do we have more squares or more hexagons? We actually have more squares, and I thought we were going to have more hexagons or they were going to be the same. So I am so glad that we drew our lines. So do we have more squares or more hexagons? More squares. How many more? One more. Awesome. Okay. They said we should do the same thing. So we're going to do a line from our first square to our first hexagon. And see if they came up with the same thing. Look at, we were one step ahead. Did we come up with the same answer? Yeah, we did. We said there was one more square. Look at our drawing. Our drawing down here looks almost identical or the same as their drawing here. Great job, guys. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make a number statement out of this. So we're going to figure out how many squares, and then we're going to say blank is more than blank. So our squares, we already agreed we have more squares. Our number of squares is more than our number of hexagons. So let's count and figure out how many squares we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how many hexagons do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So is 8 more or is 7 more? 8 is more. So let's say this together. 8 is more than 7. Go ahead. 8 is more than 7. Great job. We know this because we have more squares than we do hexagons. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the triangles and the rectangles. Okay, we are going to line up those triangles. Now we're going to pull out our rectangles. What do you think? We're going to have more of triangles or rectangles? Let's see. We're going to draw a line because look at, they look way different spacing wise. So triangle to triangle, or rectangle, triangle to rectangle, triangle to rectangle, triangle to rectangle. Do we have more triangles or rectangles just by looking at our picture? We have more rectangles. Very good. How many more rectangles do we have than triangles? Just this one that doesn't have a match. Let's figure out what our number sentence would be. We're going to say blank is more than blank. Okay, we already know our number that is bigger, or our group that has more is going to be our first number, is more than our second number. So let's count how many triangles we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 triangles. Let's count how many rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So is 4 more than 5, or is 5 more than 4? Very good. 5 is more than 4. Look at, you take your group that's bigger or has more. That number goes first when we're talking about more. So 5 is more than 4. Awesome job. We are going to do one more of these together, okay? We need to figure out if there are more circles or rectangles. I'm going to pull all the circles up. There are a bunch of them, aren't there? Okay. Did I grab all the circles? Yeah. Can you help me grab all the rectangles? Now, how are we going to figure out which has more? What are we going to have to do? We could count them, right? But what else can we do with our line? We can draw our line. So circle the rectangle, circle the rectangle, circle the rectangle, circle the rectangle, circle the rectangle. Just by looking, what group do you think has more? Circles or rectangles? Circles has more. Look at, all my rectangles are matched and I still have all these circles. Let's count how many circles I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 circles. Okay? How many rectangles do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 10 circles and 5 rectangles, right? We already said we have more circles. So is 10 more than 5? Or is 5 more than 10? Is 5 more than 10? No. I need more rectangles to match my circle. So 5 is not more than 10. 10 is more than 5. Amazing job today, guys. I love how we used comparing numbers today. We talked about more than, less than, and you were able to easily tell me which group had more. And I'm really proud of you for that. So, today's exit ticket, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to be able to look at 2 groups and figure out which group is bigger or which group has more. As a challenge, there may be on there a question saying how many more are in the bigger group. And if that comes up, you're going to need to count, okay? I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.